the H-bomb that has been dropped not by the leader of opposition, Rahul Gandhi, but by the US President Donald Trump just 2 days before India's delegation, including Union Ministers Piyush Goyal and Foreign Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, were to reach New York for trade talks. Trump hiked the H1-B visa fee to $100,000. $100,000 for new H1-B visa holders, and that really turns out to be about 88 lakh rupees. Remember, more than 70% of the H1-B visas issued each year go to Indian nationals. How many are questioning the timing of this decision, linking it to trade talks? Was it meant to be a pressure tactic or a bargaining chip during tariff negotiations? The visa shocker was also baffling as it came just days after US President dialed Prime Minister Modi on his birthday for the first time since imposing sanctions. The chaos and confusion are real. But what could be the consequences? Joining me now is ace diplomat and somebody who's been in India, the US ambassador to India, Tim Roemer, to help me join the dots of Trump's erratic policy making.
You're watching the News Hour at 9, debate number 2 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
Joining me tonight on the News Hour, former US Ambassador to India, Tim Roemer. Thank you very much, sir, for joining me. I want to ask you, how do you see the latest bomb that has been dropped by President Trump on India, especially because 72% of all H1-B visa holders are Indians, and the $100,000 fee that has now been applied to new visa holders? For almost 24 hours, there was complete mayhem, Indians out of US who needed to get back before midnight, and I think chock-a-block flights and, absolutely confused people running back to get it. How do you see this? And do you see this as a pressure tactic or something more sinister?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on the show. It's good to be back. I think everybody needs to take a deep breath and think about all the good things and all the positive and strategic connections between the United States and India, the diaspora, the people-to-people ties. Certainly, this latest announcement, along with some of the tariff confusion, is unsettling and creating more chaos short-term in the relationship. However, when we look at all the positive things, the deepening of the Quad, the cooperation on clean energy, the strategic relationship and seeing the world in the same lens for the most part between the United States and India over the last 20 years, the bipartisanship in the relationship on both sides, from the Indian side and, of course, on the United States side, between Democratic and Republican administrations. The U.S.-India relationship is still the most important in the world. It is still in a very positive and healthy direction, going in a good trajectory. But we are, as you just pointed out, seeing some chaos and some uncertainty and some hiccups in the relationship. Now, I believe that the H-1B visas, when we do them the right way and we build these connections with India and we allow people after a master's and a PhD to stay in India, to stay in the United States from India when they're going to school, this actually helps create new U.S. jobs. So let's take a breath. Let's look at the long-term, relationship between the U.S. and India, and let's cool the rhetoric down a little bit.
So who do you think needs to take a deep breath right now? President Trump or Prime Minister Modi?
I think, quite frankly, spokespeople on both sides need to take a deep breath and settle the relationship. Some of the rhetoric coming from party spokespeople in India has not been helpful. backstabbing and the U.S. isn't trustworthy. There's a pivot to Pakistan. That's just, not accurate in terms of the relationship. And quite frankly, some of the rhetoric coming from the United States, calling the Indian economy dead, saying things such as, that Mr. Modi is supporting the war machine in the Kremlin. Those things are just not helpful in ginning up opposition in both our domestic constituencies. Let's cool that down. Let's engage back in the trade negotiations. Let's try to talk about some new things we can do together, like cooperation on AI and ship manufacturing. Let's have President Trump announce a date certain to come to India to have the principals all convene to talk about the Quad and talk about how we do see the world in the same way between Mr. Modi and Mr. Trump. Let's get this H1-B visa settled and some of this confusion out of it. And let's fix the problem with Indian students and the uncertainty coming to the United States. We have 300,000 Indian students coming to the U.S. We want that. That is a great thing for our economy. That's a great thing for our culture. It is a wonderful thing for U.S., India, and the diaspora and the people-to-people ties. Let's make sure some of those incentives don't expire. Let's clear up some uncertainty in that so Indian students can continue to come to the U.S. schools with confidence and long-term certainty.
But Ambassador Tim Roemer, are you really trying to convince India? Because India is convinced. What about convincing President Trump? Because, what happens to companies like Google, Amazon, Microsoft, who depend a lot on the H1-B talent from India? Should they be actually expanding in the United States? Should they be looking for shores outside the U.S.? There is a lot of confusion out there.
No question about it. President Trump's surprise announcement on the $100,000 fee on the H1-B visas caught everybody off guard. I guess if there's a sliver of good news in that, it does not apply to current visa holders. It does not apply to renewals. I hope that they clarify this and back off it. As I said before, I really think when Indian students come to the United States, they study. Whether they go back to India, there's goodwill created after they've studied in the United States. If they decide to stay in the United States and pursue more school, master's, PhDs, we should be helping them get that visa, because every study that I've ever read over the last 20 years, going back to a Duke University of California study, shows that when those students come from India and they get those advanced degrees and they stay in the United States, they are job multipliers. They are future CEOs, and they're in the C-suite, helping us start new businesses and actually creating new jobs for Americans at that level of H-1B visa. So let's clarify this problem that we have right now. Let's remove some of the uncertainty and the chaos. Let's get back to the trade negotiations. Let us continue to talk about deepening the Quad. I hope President Trump will announce a date, this week, that he's going to visit Delhi and do that Quad meeting. There are all kinds of things we can start doing to put this relationship back on the right track. Well, I hope
President Trump is listening to you tonight, because I've not heard words that are this positive about India in a long, long time from the United States. And considering it's the beginning of the auspicious festive season in India before Diwali, we're hoping that maybe where we are concerned, the gods will step in and take care of the problem with President Trump. Well, for now, thank you very much.
The gods or good diplomats and people that care about this relationship will step in.
Absolutely. So why don't I request you, because you your words extremely comforting to Indians here, but maybe you could send a docket across, maybe, who knows, and push the India-US relationship a little further on your side. On this side, I think everybody's got their fingers crossed. Thank you, Tim Roemer.
Happy early Diwali.
And with that, it's a wrap on the News Hour tonight. Good night, be safe. I'll be back tomorrow with the News Hour at 9.